Hi there. Today I wanted to do a video because many questions are coming in about the question around free will. Many of you have watched the series on my near-death experience and on some of the other videos that I've uploaded, and a common theme is coming, and about 10 people have already asked about this, so I figured I would just combine it into one video. What I was shown about free will is that there is this belief that that's something that we're experiencing here, and it ties into that belief that there's a doer, that there's someone here to do something, that there's someone here that has some act or path or mission to carry out on planet Earth, and that we're here to figure out what that is firstly, and then secondly carry through with it. And the reality is that there is no thing that we're here to do. We're here for experience, and everything that we're experiencing is preordained, pre-mapped, pre-scripted. So when you recognize that, how free will plays into that is just yet another illusion, that there is some doer here that has options or choices. There is no doer. There is only a being. If you watched the video that I did on why we incarnate, go back to the reminder that we are consciousness. We are that white everything and nothingness at the same time. And in that, we have this desire is the only word I can use, but it doesn't really describe it well. But we have this desire to know our individuality, and that is the intention or the purpose for incarnation, to come here for experience, to be able to know a part of myself. If I'm everything, how can I know bits or fragments of that everythingness? If I am this table, how can I know something other than that? If I am only the table, or all of the table. So the incarnation is the illusion of separation from everything and nothingness into this physical body that then has this illusion of choice, that there's some doer here that has opportunity to choose, and that on this path that's been pre-mapped, I have free will to make a different choice. If you look at where the belief structure comes in around what free will is, what you'll always be led to is the story of Adam and Eve, and the supposed and apparent illusion that Eve committed a sin by eating the apple, and therefore with sin there is now there is free will, there's punishment, we're able to make choices. That is not what I was shown. In fact, not at all. If you watched the videos on the near-death experience, you'll see that what I was shown is that there is no sin here. And then of course the question comes, well, if that's true, why isn't everyone running around the planet killing and murdering and raping and doing all these horrendous acts because there's no sin or punishment? There is an element about us which is pure love and goodness. That is our true nature. Our true nature is this beautiful energy of love. Certainly, some have mapped to come here and have the experience of being a murderer, or a rapist, or a pedophile. All of these horrific things we label horrific, and that's what they've charted in their path. Again, the only intention behind that charting is for experience. The experiencer has also signed an agreement for that, and I know that will make some people very angry, especially people who are still stuck in their story around something that's happened in the apparent story of happening to them. I can say this freely because I lived that for 38 years. For 38 years, everything that happened in my mind, I believed happened to me. Certainly, in the density of this third dimension, it feels very real. To have something happen to you feels very real. There is pain, there is the experience of it feeling very real. The only thing I can say about that, having had some very real experiences myself, is that even going into our victim is part of the experience. There's no right or wrong in this. If something happens in the apparent story of Kelly and it feels as though it's happening to me, and my response to that is to go into my victim story around it and then pop out the other side in a few days, even that is perfect. The thought that I had free will to choose something other than that creates suffering, because in that I'm saying something different should have happened. I went into victim, and yet that should not have happened. And that ties right into the whole loving reality. If this is happening now, if this is the experience, I'm going to love it. Any other response than loving what's happening is insanity. It's arguing with reality. Free will gives the indication or the belief structure that this supposed doer has an opportunity to choose one path or another. That what's predestined is on path A and my free will is path B. And if I choose path B and go down free will and that somehow is wrong, then me as the doer is constantly in this space of suffering, thinking I should have stayed on my path. Well, guess what? You can never go off your path. That's just a thought here. It's conditioned through religion from the time we take our first breath and are baptized to believe that there is sin. I've said many times that this will do a few things for people. It'll either make you very angry, you'll become very defensive, or there will be some release in the body that says yes. And I don't have any attachment to being right here. I'm sharing my experience from my own journey on this path and from my own journey in my near-death experience and what I was shown. If it resonates for you and the body goes yes, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too. I'm not here to battle my belief systems or the things that I hold to be true. By even thinking there is a belief system or something I hold to be true, that again is something outside of me. I can only be this. Even speaking about it is a lie. As soon as I've shared this experience with you, it's a lie. It's the past and it's never happened. It's gone. Yet in this third dimension, we're here to share through language, to share through journeys, to share through writings. We're gifted this ability to communicate in a way with each other that has this, there is a Kelly to share a story and there is a you to share a story. That's why we're here. So there is no harm in sharing it. It's just that what I don't want, or what I would prefer, is that you listen and you hear from your heart, and what holds true, fantastic, and what doesn't, that's okay too. Yet if something feels defensive in you, if something feels angry in you by what I've shared, there may be some need for inquiry there for you. And even the thought that you need to go do something is an illusion, because as soon as you're aware of the need for inquiry, you either do it or you don't. And whatever ends up happening is perfect. It was already planned. There's no doer there to go do anything. So one of you wrote to me and said, if there's no doer that needs to do anything, and there's no sin, and there's no free will, then why don't I just sit in a chair and drool all day? Well, I assure you, you can attempt to do that. You may hear this and even go there, and even that's perfect because it's what's mapped for you. What'll happen is you'll sit and you'll drool and you'll be in your sweatpants and you'll be in your victim story, and in a couple of hours the body will say, I need to go to the restroom, and the body will rise up and go. Or the stomach will gurgle and the body will say, feed me, and you'll notice the body get up, pull the bread out, pull the lunch meat out, begin to make the sandwich. There's no doer there. The body is just reacting to what is already scripted. And the more you resist it, the more you become aware of it, the resistance to what's already happening. I think everyone's had an experience, I know I've had many of these, where I have a thought about sharing something with someone. Maybe I have a thought that, oh, I should tell so-and-so something. And then there's a thought that comes behind that, no, I really shouldn't tell so-and-so that. I'm not going to. And then you end up out to dinner with that person and you hear the words coming out of your mouth. And the thought comes behind them, I thought I had agreed with myself not to share that. The insanity of it is that all of this conversation and all of these thoughts are not you. That's why you're so aware of them, because they literally are outside of you. They're dropping into your experience. The doer thinks that there's something they have a choice to do or not do, but what is happening just is. So I hope that answers the question around free will, talks a little bit around my views about knowing this and what it can do to you. There is a good friend of mine who has a quote on his Facebook wall that really resonates for many in this, and it basically says, the truth will set you free, but first it'll piss you off. And I think many have that feeling when this shedding of old beliefs and conditioning starts to happen. Again, there's no doer doing it, it's just happening. And so there's this thought that there's some doer who needs to stop this from happening, or there's some doer belief that this is not right. I have lived this way my whole life, I don't want things to change. And yet you have absolutely no control over any of it. Breathe and not resist. That's your only role here. That will be driven home in every one of my videos because it's so important. Even the questions that are arising from people who watch these videos, they're beautiful and I love and welcome all of them. But I also see the doer rising in each person with a thought that something needs to be different. You've watched the video, something I've said doesn't resonate, and so therefore there's something that needs to be different. And then even the thought that you have a choice to be accepting of it or surrendering to it is also an illusion. Whatever your response to it is. So I'll wrap it up with that, and I just wanted to say thank you for all the amazing feedback that continues to come. I'm grateful for each and every one of your comments, and love hearing the stories that each of you have had. And just will continue to post these as I see time arise and the opportunity. So thank you. Till next time.